Right. It brought good luck against Bodo Glimt, and we will definitely need luck, so let's do it again. We destroyed Bodo Glimt, let's destroy Leicester now. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are at that part of the season where we can't allow ourselves to make mistakes. We are at that part of the season where every mistake we commit basically leads up to a bad end to the season. It's that part of the season where making mistakes is the equivalent of destroying yourself. Because, you see, in the Conference League, for example, we aren't playing against small clubs like Zorya Luhansk anymore. And, when we played against Zorya Luhansk, that was all group stages. So, technically drawing, technically losing a match couldn't have been that painful. But we're at that part of the season where, you see, we just can't make mistakes. Because just like Bodo Glimt, where we risked a lot. Now, against Bodo Glimt, we were great, absolutely great in the second leg, because, fans, passion, determination, the will to win, the will to kind of take revenge on Bodo Glimt. But in a way, we were also lucky because, yes, it happens once that you lose one in the first leg and you win in the second leg. It can happen twice, it can happen 3 times, but at the 4th time, luck starts going against you. This is why the match at the King Power Stadium on Thursday is more important than the match at home. Because you see, if we go to the King Power Stadium and get a win, then we can bring it back at the Olympico with a big confident exclamation mark on it. If we were to draw at the King Power Stadium, we would bring it back in front of the fans, and the fans would do 40% of the final job. At least 40%, if not around 50 to 60%. The second we lose again in the first leg, it means that, you see, this sense of, okay, I'm going to do it again. Okay, this sense of a comeback needs to get dragged on. And I'll be completely honest with you. If we need something right now, it's concentration in the Conference League. But we need to pay attention to the Serie A as well. Because now that we lost this weekend and Juventus won yesterday, Champions League is gone. Our objective now is to keep 5th position. However, Lazio, Fiorentina, Atalanta are all behind us. So, being and consuming all the energies in the Conference League is great because it is our main objective this season. But you see how we need to balance things out. So the match on Thursday, in my opinion, is more important than the match at home. Don't get me wrong. The match at home, we will have the fans by our side, which will give a massive, massive, massive boost. The stadium is way bigger than the King Power Stadium. But we need to try and avoid a defeat, at least a drastic defeat at Leicester. If we lose 2-1, okay, some aspects I can see it happening. But we need to try and score. Score. Even if this away goal rule doesn't count anymore, scoring away gives you a lot of morale, a lot of confidence. So my big objective, my big aim for the lads on Thursday is to try and score. It will be a life changer if we score against Leicester at their home. But we'll talk about them today. I'm gonna say my predicted 11, and then we're also gonna talk about, as we do always, when it comes to Roma preparing for this match. Now, against Bodo Glimt away, yes, obviously Leicester are a more talented team than Bodo Glimt, are a more known team than Bodo Glimt. But when we played Bodo Glimt in Norway, we still hadn't ended our streak in the Serie A. This fact that we lost against Inter Milan is not a big deal for me, but you know what? For some of these players which are unexperienced, and I'm looking at the likes of Ibanez, the likes of Pellegrini maybe, the likes of Zaniolo, even if he wasn't playing against Inter Milan. We've discussed it, but it's so important to forget about that defeat. Because if we don't forget about the defeat, then we are in a position where we are in a way more disadvantageous position than what we were against Bodo Glimt in Norway. And we are playing against a more talented team, a better team. We need to forget about what happened this weekend. It's Inter Milan, they're gonna win the league, it's understandable, the players need to understand this. But when it comes to confidence, when it comes to morale, our Serie A long 13 streak ended. So we need, and this is what I like to go emphasizing, many things. Can you hear that? Yeah, it's off. We just need to emphasize on not concentrating ourselves and not remembering ourselves about the defeat again. It's basically the same thing. When we played Bodo Glimt, it was important not to remember about that 6-1 defeat, right? It's the same thing. However, we never played Leicester before. We need to forget about the Inter defeat. It's the same exact thing. Now, something else, if we compare the match against Bodo Glimt to this one, is we will need to avoid... I mean, if we score, right, we need to avoid basically giving them our win. Because the first leg in the quarterfinals of the Conference League against Bodo Glimt, we lost, but they didn't win that match. We lost that match for them. Don't start saying Bodo Glimt deserved that, because yes, they might be attacking more, but the 2 goals they scored, if they can try again 20 times, they won't be able to score. We gifted them that match. It's not them which won us, it's us which lost to them. And this is a big problem at this club. I can see us, obviously Leicester are the favourites on Thursday, but I can see us, as we always do, go in a lead and then absolutely bottle it. And you see, we were lucky against Bodo Glimt because they could have scored more goals. And in such a match, conceding more is trouble. Absolutely trouble. So it's important to, if we go in a lead, to consolidate that and fight and not immediately think about that final in Albania a couple of weeks later, because we haven't won it. I can see us going on a lead on Thursday, 100%. But at the same time, I can also see us bottling it. Absolutely bottling it. And if against Bodo Glimt, which are a less talented team than Leicester we conceded to, if we deconcentrate against a team like Leicester, they can haunt us. And the more goals we concede, the harder it is to perform a comeback. That is the primary example of these semi-final, quarter-final matches. These 2-leg matches, it's as simple as that. The more you concede, the harder the comeback. So we can't bottle it. We cannot bottle that lead in the first leg against them, because we just can't. The fans at the Leicester ground are gonna be way more fierce than what the Bodo Glimt fans were at their stadium. It's English fans. It's English passion. So we can't. Yes, we can lose, but we need to avoid losing. Not necessarily losing 2-1, because once again, that 2-1 then in front of our fans, you know, now that the away goal it doesn't count anymore, we can easily turn it around, but we need to avoid a disaster. And the defense needs to be well concentrated. And this is a bonus of why we have Smalling in defense. He knows the Premier League, he's experienced, he knows the attackers on their side. So it's a really good bonus to have English players. They know what the Premier League is like. They know what playing Leicester is like. Tammy, Smalling, Mkhitaryan, even if he's not English. Mourinho sitting on the bench. It's good that we've got this Premier League experience, because, you know, my example is Zaniolo doesn't know what feeling that Premier League pressure, feeling that English football pressure is. It's his first time in England playing in a Premier League stadium. He doesn't know what it means. Pellegrini, the same. He doesn't know it. So having experienced players and having a manager which knows all of that is good, and needs to explain to these players which aren't used to this English football passion to not end up, because they will feel the pressure. God, they will feel the pressure. And players like Ibanez are coming to my mind, not necessarily Zaniolo, you see, but more like Ibanez. We've seen how much Ibanez has fallen under pressure and bottled things. If we do this against Leicester in front of these fans, it's a massive mistake. This is why I'm considering not starting Ibanez. He falls under too much pressure. Now let's talk about them, because we've talked about us, we've talked about how we're approaching this match, how we need to avoid this deconcentrations. They're a good team, don't get me wrong, but you see, I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm not trying to, put them down. I'm not trying to intimidate Leicester, because Leicester are a great team. My computer science teacher is actually a Leicester teacher. So if you're watching this, mate, shout out to you. What you see? Yes, everyone has this vision of Leicester, Premier League. Wow, way better than the Serie A. Leicester City being a massive threat. Their rhythm is amazing. They will absolutely engulf Roma. I'll be honest with you. Yes, Leicester are a very dangerous team, but in my opinion, Olympique Marseille are better than Leicester as a team. I'm not saying Leicester aren't a good team, but you see, they're 10th in the league. Like, there are clubs which are better than Leicester City. Manchester United, even though they aren't better than Leicester, because Leicester this season are miles better than United, are still ahead of them. Clubs like Aston Villa drew to them 0-0 this weekend. Yes, it's always hard for an Italian team to play in England, and that will be by far the weakest part on our side. Like, their biggest factor is not their talented team. Their biggest factor is the fact that Italian teams struggle a lot in the UK. That's by far the first factor. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. Leicester City haven't, in my vision, this is my opinion, haven't got a real striker. Yes, Jamie Vardy. He's like 80 years old or something? Vardy is injury prone as hell. Yes, he dragged Leicester to the title in 2016, whenever it was. I can't see Vardy purging us as, I don't know, someone like Arek Milik from Marseille could do. Patson Daka, don't get me wrong, young player, is he really that good? You see, my immediate question mark when it comes to Leicester is, do they have a real striker? That is already my biggest question on their side. They've got strikers, but I can guarantee you that, I don't want to jinx anything, but Arek Milik would have been 100% harder to face than Jamie Vardy in attack. Jamie Vardy came from, 4 months of not playing football, subbed in against Aston Villa these last 10 minutes. He's not on form. The real players which I think will pose a real struggle to this team are James Maddison and Tielemans, whatever his name is. Ndidi's injured, which is good for us. Tielemans, Maddison, and Lookman, in my opinion, will be your biggest threats. Not the strikers. That is where Smalling and Mancini need to engulf their attack. Absolutely engulf it. Because Lookman is great, but his physique is shit. We just need a good, focused Mancini, and he can cut Lookman off from every single attack. My biggest focus, my biggest threats are Maddison and Tielemans. They are really good midfielders. Really, really good midfielders. Really good. When it comes to free kicks, avoid James Maddison. Avoid free kicks because he's an absolute bowler. Tielemans is a really good defensive midfielder. Ndidi, good luck. Lucky for us, he's not playing because he's injured. Something else, which I think we have to kind of exploit, is their defense. Fofana is amazing, but Soyuncu, in my opinion, is the most overrated defender in the Premier League. Absolutely. I mean, I don't have anything against Leicester, but Soyuncu, in my opinion, is extremely overrated. Fofana, on the other side, is great. But, for example, their right back and their full back, who do they have? Not that we have any better, but you see how this is a very equal match. And everyone has got this vision of, oh Leicester, they will absolutely shit us. No. It's going to be a very balanced match. And I'm going to say it again. The main reason of why we could potentially fall at the King Power Stadium is the same reason of why Leicester could fall at the Olympico. because of the fans. I'm more scared of the fans giving them pressure than their talent, absolutely making us struggle. Because I think when it comes to talent, Marseille are better than Leicester, if you ask me. Leicester have got a really young team. They will grow a lot in the future, but these young players haven't got a UEFA semi-final experience. And this is why I think this is a very balanced match. When it comes to talent, oh yeah, we are just like Leicester. We aren't better, but it's a very equal match, and it's the mistakes, it's the exact details of the match which can be a big problem. Because mistakes when two matches are very balanced, when two teams are very balanced, it's the mistakes which count. This is why I am considering not starting Ibanez. Ibanez was under too much pressure. However, who do I put? Kumbula is slow. Leicester is fast. What we need to avoid is slowness, because they are a very fast team. They're a Premier League team. This leads me on to my predicted 11, which is by far the best. This is one of our most important matches of the season, if not the most important. I said already how much the away match is more important than the home match for us to grab a result and bring it back to our fans. So I think we will start with just like we started against Bodo Glimt, in my opinion. I think the predicted 11 will look like this. Rui Patricio in goal. Mancini, Smalling, and I have to put Ibanez. I'm contradicting myself, but Kumbula's too slow. Kumbula's great when it comes to confidence, way better than Ibanez. But as I said before, it's the mistakes which count, and Kumbula could be absolutely tormented by these fast players. So Ibanez needs to start. This is why we need to buy another defender. We don't have Ibanez, and Kumbula are not great. Karsdorp on the right hand side, Zalewski on the left hand side. Zalewski's a must. Zalewski and Karsdorp are a must to kind of balance out the speed. And then I think we will play with Cristante and Mkhitaryan. Yes, I know. I did say Mkhitaryan doesn't work as well as a defensive midfielder, but I'm going to put Mkhitaryan higher than what he played against Inter Milan. And then Cristante's back. Very big return. Because without Cristante against Inter Milan, you can see it. Oliveira's not starting for me. He doesn't. He's not in good form. He still needs to orientate himself well. Then Pellegrini just in front of them, and Tammy and Zaniolo up front. Zaniolo's back to bring that talent, to bring that support to Tammy. Zaniolo is coming from great momentum in the Conference League. He's coming from a hat-trick. Leicester fans, Leicester players are warned. Pellegrini just behind them to give that sense of creativity. I'm not putting Oliveira. I could put Oliveira instead of Cristante because, I think Oliveira is faster than Cristante. But at the same time, we've seen what Oliveira without Cristante against Inter Milan. Inter Milan are obviously better than Leicester, but we can't risk it because we need someone like Cristante. Cristante is evolving a lot. He's so important lately. He is so important. He's slow, but if he plays like he played against Bodo Glimt, dab on it, because it's absolutely fundamental. Cristante is a fundamental piece of Thursday's lineup. Pellegrini and Tammy and Zaniolo up front. They will obviously play with. The big question if Vardy will start, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna say it again. It's not Vardy isn't their biggest threat for me. I think Patson Daka is gonna start. Something else to point out is that against PSV Eindhoven, Leicester equalised the 0-0 at home, and then PSV Eindhoven wasn't good enough to keep home advantage, and then they lost. If we can get a 0-0 draw, it would be a very boring match, very boring live watch along, but God, I would sign for it. 0-0 draw, 0 conceded, bring it back in front of the fans, and we can play like we played against Bodo Glimt. It's as simple as that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read some comments, and then I will catch you tomorrow for Mourinho's press conference reaction. Jose is an English football expert. I believe he will do something special on that day. Yes, that is definitely something on our side. Hi Simon, Leicester haven't been very good this season. I think you will win. This is TD5, Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, mate. Roma needs 101 concentration. Not even 101. 1001, if we're going to put it that way. No fear, Roma is taking down Leicester regardless, Simon. Premier League is kick and follow. The Serie is very tactical and deep football in Italy. Roma Club Indonesia, welcome. Italian team struggled in England, a phobia of British fans, nothing more. But Roma has a Jose who knows psychological warfare. Arsenal, Zaniolo is going to kill them. Hopefully. Zaniolo coming from a hat-trick in the Conference League will definitely boost his morale. The fear of Jose is the beginning of the fall of Leicester. Who else thinks we should sell El Shaarawy? Me. 100%. Scores once every 3 months and then gets injured. First match will be a draw. Sign on a draw. I'm taking a draw. 100%. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you tomorrow. It's a very equal match. I can't stress this enough. It's the mistakes which count. We need to avoid mistakes. That it's as simple as that. And their MVP, which is Ndidi with £60 million, is injured. Exploit that. Cristante, you know what to do. I'm looking at you. I want you. Exploit that. Show Ndidi who you are. So yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow for the press conference reaction. It will be an interesting one. Back in England for Jose. Back with English journalists, something which he absolutely hates. So it'll be an interesting one. Set a reminder tomorrow. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're around 35 subscribers from 3,600 subscribers. So please subscribe if you're watching and you haven't already. Like the live stream as soon as it becomes a video as well, and comment in the comments your impressions of Thursday's match, not the following match, not the home match, because right now we need to think about this match. Follow me on Instagram over in the yellow box down below, or at Simon AS. Let me just quickly see the results of the poll, if we're feeling confident or negative, and then I will indeed end the stream. Right, 63% say Wolf and 37% say Foxes. Up the boys. Confidence is all we need. And yeah, bring it on, ladies and